What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the podcast. Now, today we're going to be talking about a subject that happened a long time ago, and I'm talking about it because I recently found out, even though it happened a long time ago. And we're going to talk about the 1996 Olympic bomb and the injustice that happened to Richard Jewell. Now, for those of you who are my age, probably won't know about it because this is something that they don't teach in school. So, basically what happened was, at the 1996 Olympics, there was a bombing. And the bomb was discovered by just some security guard, and his name was Richard Jewell, and he found the bomb. So this man not only found the bomb, but he saved hundreds and hundreds of people's lives, even though when the bomb went off, it did kill one person and injured, I think, 100 people. But considering that there were hundreds and hundreds of others there, he saved people's lives. But what happened was the bag that was used to carry the bomb was very similar to Richard Jewell's bag. So without really any investigation, they accused Richard Jewell of being the bomber, right? No evidence. That they're only going off the assumption that matches his bag, that the bomb in the bag matches his. The FBI gave a statement, leaked his name to the press, and some lady from the Atlanta newspaper made a story that gave his name out. It wasn't right. It was injustice. And let me share something with the timeline, okay? This man couldn't get out of his house without being looked at or beat up. He couldn't get a job. He got beat up severely. And he couldn't get a job from the year 1996 to the year 2003. That's 9 years, guys. All because of that reporter in the FBI not doing their job and automatically assuming that it was him. In the later time, they actually caught the killer, and his name was Eric Rudolph. Eric Rudolph was 35 years old, and he was there at the Olympic bomb, and he was the bomber, and he also went on to bomb a couple others. And he had they made a movie in 2019, and then they have a show called Manhunt on Netflix, and you can go watch it. But it goes over what happened, and mainly it goes over like in the movie it goes over Richard Jewell's part, but in the TV show it goes over Rudolph, his part, but also combining a little bit of Richard Jewell's life as well. But really, I see it as an injustice, you know? It really is an injustice, and it shows how people are very narrow-minded. They in the FBI's like, we got our man, right? They didn't do their proper research, and even with the facts being shown, right, they still wouldn't let up that it was Richard Jewell until they had to, right? And they never excused him. Even after they found the guy, they never said, I'm sorry. And the lady who did the paper about him, the very first one that they were suing, right? She was a fucking drug addict. She was doing cocaine, probably, and she died later on at 42 years old. 42. And that is something, and it was because of a drug overdose, right? But anybody with a brain cells of an IQ of a number 2 pencil would know that that lady's on dope. By the way she looks, and really, this tells me that if people would have just said, "I'm sorry, you're right," and admit to their mistakes, this man's life would not be fucked. And I don't know if this is really true, but in the show, in 2003, he finally became an officer. And Richard Jewell was such a good soul. They portrayed him as a good person. He was very polite. And even in the show where the lady died and his mom says that she deserved it, he's like, no, she did not. She's probably going the same mindset I had when people blame me for the bomb. And if that was the real case, then that man is a good man and did not deserve to die at 45 from a heart attack. And he probably died because of all the stress. I mean, he was really, really obese, and that certainly didn't help, but he probably died from all the stress of 9 years of stress. And that puts a toll on everybody, and I couldn't even imagine being in that situation, blamed for well, I know what it's like to be blamed for something you didn't do, but to that caliber is just human injustice at the highest. And the fact that the FBI never said I'm sorry or redacted their claims is just sickening. And quite frankly, it just shows how people are so arrogant and never want to be wrong. And journalists are just like, I don't know, and I'm not saying all journalists are like this, but I bet there are maybe I would like to think a lot of them are, where they go everything based off fact, right? And you get sources from people. You don't know if those sources are necessarily true, and one bad rumor can ruin somebody's life. Ruin it. Like Richard Jewell's life was ruined because they got a tip. But here's the thing. If the FBI told her his name and the facts, but the FBI were wrong, the people that are supposed to do the thorough research, which they didn't, because there were a lot of people who did the thorough research, experts that tried to show it to them. At least that's what they showed in the show, and they never listened. They never listened until like the very end, where all these bombs start going on. And even common sense is they still, even after him being in like home, like he never stepped out of the house, and there were other bombs being planted. There is no freaking way it could have been him. And they still never, even to this day, they don't even redact the fact that they said it was him, And reporters will blame it on, it was the facts that I was given, but a reporter is supposed to do what the thorough research, just like the FBI, just like anybody else. If you're going to write an article about this person, you best make sure that you have the right information and you're not giving wrong information, because that is how lives get ruined. And it really just sickens me to my stomach that happened to somebody that was the kind of soul that never meant harm. And I know in the movies and TV shows they try to make it more theatrical, which that's how they sell movies. But there is a lot of truth because it's based on a true story, so there is a lot of truth to this. I don't know how true it is that a girl that he saved, that her mom died. I'm not really sure if that's true or not. And then like when they went to court for Eric Rudolph, if she really followed him and hugged him or whatever, I doubt it, because that's more for a TV factor. But he did save a lot of people, and it really is. He is the definition of American hero and what American should be, just doing his job and caring for others, because that's what America is basically founded on. And what happened to innocent till proven guilty? What happened to that? You had no evidence on this man, and yet you convicted him. I mean, he never went to jail or anything, but you still put him as your man for 9 fucking years, dude. And that's not right. And why do they not teach this? Why do they not teach this in schools? Why are we learning about everything else that's depressing? Why are we not learning about this? This is the important shit. You know, they don't really teach you about 9/11. You just hear about it on 9/11. You know, they should be teaching this kind of stuff and stuff that is like, we're supposed to be good human beings. It's like writing a paper. You don't say anything that is not used from your sources, but you don't also want to use the wrong sources, because like sources that are not based on that topic. Or it could be like Wikipedia, where any asshole can write anything, you know? You want to be thorough. Being thorough is the most important thing when you're catching somebody or framing somebody for this, or making them your man. You need to do research. Research, especially in a case with murder. The blood shed that comes after you not catching the right guy is on their hands. And they are the ones that have to deal with that. Richard Jewell had to deal with years and years of depression and being sad and fighting for his rights. The FBI was like taking away his rights as an American. He couldn't go out of his house without being looked at. He couldn't enjoy anything for 9 years. And that is wrong. That is not what we should do to somebody who saved fucking lives. How do you go from this guy saved a bunch of people's lives, right? And just because he has a bag similar, up he is the guy because he's some fucking loser who lives with his mom who just wanted fame and saving people. First of all, who does that? Who bombs a thing and then tells everybody, get away, get away, get away, there's a bomb going off? A person who leaves a bomb may have called and said, I left the bomb, but they're not really gonna tell everybody to get back. That doesn't make common sense. Even with the hero story, if he was that sick to leave a bomb, he wouldn't tell people. You know? And it's in their... First of all, security guards are technically trained to look at suspicious stuff, and even TV shows, it doesn't really... The timing might be off, because I watched the interview with 60 Minutes, and that's actually where 60 Minutes really did clear his name when doing their own research and stuff like that. But even before that, I watched the 60 Minute interview, and he's like the real one, not just from the TV show, but he's like, yeah, we waited like 45 minutes, so they had to wait 45 minutes, and then the bomb squad got there, and he had to move everybody out to get to safety. And sadly, you know, shrapnel blew everywhere, and people got injured, and one person died, and that's sad. But, like, this guy is a hero, and you painted him as a villain, and he's not a villain, he was a hero. And the fact that, you know, I didn't even know about this, and they don't teach that in school, is kind of bad, in my opinion. In the government, that just shows me how people, like, the government really can't blame people for being so skeptical about them. They are so shady, they are arrogant, and the government is fucking stupid. You know, I bet they gotten better now, but not really. I mean, look at the world. Look what we have come to as a people. It's like, it's a blame game. It's blaming. You gotta stop with the bullshit. Cut the shit and get down to the root of, we all fucked up. We all have to say we are sorry. Even though, like, it's like this. If you report something, like, let's use the reporter. She never said, I'm sorry. She never said, I'm sorry. And she died of a drug overdose. But you want to know why? She probably used those drugs because she felt bad about herself, right? She's getting old. But also, that when she found out that her claims were wrong, she couldn't. Her ego. She let her ego just dictate her emotions, and she just couldn't say I'm sorry and wanted to fight it, but she died. Okay, not only does that teach you something about pride and have remorse, but also don't ever do drugs. Drugs will fuck up your whole life, and it fucked up her life because it fucked up her head, and she died because of it. But also her ego. Never have a big ego, because that's how you do things that you normally wouldn't do. You know, if you're a journalist, you make sure you got the facts. But you can't just base everything off fact. You have to base it off a human being. You got to be in their shoes. You got to think like they do. And you got to do the real research. You can't. That's what I think people do. They dig up dirt that's trying to make them a bad guy, right? And why? Yeah, when you're trying to find somebody, that's true. You do make them a bad guy. But in this case, this guy never really did anything bad in his whole entire life. And he cared a lot. Maybe when he was in college and he arrested people for, petty crimes like drinking or driving, speeding, whatever, I would say he cares about the law, and see, now it's not somebody who, if he ever did become a cop in real life, that's a cop you should look up to. The guy who cares about people, who's looking to help people do his job, and just looking to help be the best human being you can. And the world, I feel like, it's like, this is too good, and there's no way that this guy is a good human being. They demonized him, and it really is sad for me to see that this wasn't even that long ago. I'm 18 years old. I wasn't even alive, but still, it is a sad story. It's I feel like it's injustice. Even though I feel like, in my opinion, he never got justice, really, because this FBI never redacted their claim and never said they're sorry. He might have been cleared and all the other news people said they're sorry and whatever. But the fact that this one newspaper didn't, that lady didn't, and the FBI were wrong is just ridiculous. And you could blame it on old timing, you could blame it on arrogance, but like I said, the only person you can blame is yourself. Those FBI agents who did that, you blame yourself. That person who wrote the first article, the Atlanta paper, blame herself. And I suggest that you guys actually go and watch not only the movie, but watch the TV show on Netflix. It's Manhunter, and it's either Finding Eric Rudolph or something like that. But just look up 1996 Centennial Park bombing in the Olympics, or look up Richard Jewell's name. It really is a story that I couldn't take my eyes off of, and I really do wish they would have told me this sooner, because they make you write papers in school on the dumbest shit, like World War. We learn about World War. I feel like every year, either in middle school or in high school, maybe even a little bit in the earlier stages of school. But writing papers on it is such a cliche. Like, it's getting old now. You've done it too much. Why are we not writing papers and doing this on human decency and being good human beings and crises that people being framed for something they didn't do, like injustices, I guess it would be. And I actually have, for history, wrote an injustice paper, but I never saw the 1996 bombing on there. It was more like civil stuff, and it's mostly just not right. again, what happened, and I would never uh, think in a million years that would happen to somebody. But this is why people are so skeptical of the government, and even you don't even have to know that about this story to be skeptical of the government based on past behaviors. And also a good example of that is Snowden. There was a movie called Snowden, and this is a true story about an actual guy. And back in 2016, they made a movie called Snowden. But in 2013, the world was introduced that the government was spying on their cameras, on their phones and computers, even when they're turned off. But they're basically hacking into everybody's stuff and hearing everything they say. They could be hearing this podcast that I'm doing right now. And Edward Snowden said that is illegal. And not only that, but the government was lying about it when asked about it. And people who whistleblew got jail time. And Edward Snowden, worked for CIA, probably the DEA, whatever, special intelligence, whatever. This guy was super smart, right? He created a lot of programs and for the CIA and whatever, but it ruined his life. It was getting to the point of he had epilepsy. His personal life was going to shit, and he's like, I'm done. I'm releasing this information because the people got to know. And which was a good thing. But 2013, I feel like back in 2013, from what I remember, I never really watched the news, really, nor did I really care for it. I always thought that we knew this before 2013, but my memory must be shocked or something. But yeah, he actually was 29 2013 when he did this, so he had to move to Russia, dude, and he's still in Russia. That makes him like 30, mid-30s, I would say. The nice part is that his girlfriend moved later on with him. But, yeah, if you look either of these two things up, they'll show up. And the government was at the time was upset, and I don't know, they probably still are butthurt about it. But, again, what the government does is not right, I'm not saying all government people are bad. There are the good people in the government, and I do appreciate them. But my cousin's a cop. I respect him above anybody. But that being said, the government is pretty fucked. They spy on us. They mistrial people. They frame people right away. They don't think. Look at this. And I don't consider him our president anymore because he fucking lost and he's such a baby about it. But Donald Trump is such a fucking moron. And listen, I am not a political person. I voted for Kanye West, dude. So I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I'm fucking libertarian. You can do whatever you want. But the things he says on Twitter and the things he says, he's very anti. He is fucking a white supremacist, dude. Like he's such a white supremacist, and a racist, I would say. And the fact that he says he's not is kind of comical to me. I don't understand why people are so quick to not only judge, but when they are wrong, they never just add up to it. Like if I was wrong in something like that, the first thing I would do is say, I'm sorry. There's nothing that I can say or do that will fix what we have done, but sometimes you gotta pull your pants. You gotta and you just have to be an apologetic person. You gotta be a human being and think, if I was in their fucking shoes, how would I feel? How would I feel being criminalized and pictured as a villain when all I'm doing was just trying to save somebody or help people or be the best human being I could be? And it really is sad to see where America has failed in that aspect and still is fucking failing. Look at look at us now as a country or a state, or yeah, just basically as a country. But we blame China, right? Everybody out there's going to say China, China, China did this, right? You sound like the fucking president. And there are going to be other people that say, well, it's partly the U.S.'s fault too. I was told that some people think that this got out not from a fucking bat, but they were genetically, or they were making the virus on purpose. And I said, why would you say that? And they told me that people make viruses, which, okay, that's understandable, but why? To make cures for them in case they ever get out. Well, this one got out, Corona did, and apparently the doctors in China were going to say something, but the guy who was studying it suddenly died, which leads me to believe that the government took him out. So either it was the Chinese government, the USA government, it doesn't fucking matter. People blame people because, one, they want to either get something from them, or it's always something of an advantage, money, whatever. Because it's a bad thing. And when bad things happen, you need somebody to blame for it. But while that is true, that somebody who made the bad thing should be blamed for it, we all shouldn't be like so against it. Everybody makes mistakes, okay? I'm not saying murderers and killers are good people, because they're not. Especially the guy who bombed Centennial Park and all those other ones, he deserves to die in jail. But an interesting fact that Eric Rudolph was right next to the what's that other big bomb guy? Fuck, I forget what his name is. Well, the other big event, the guy who was worth like $1 million, the Unabomber, he was right next to him, which was actually kind of weird, but okay. But yeah, people, America, even not even America, everybody in the world. We have hunger crisis. We are in a crisis of health. Instead of saying it doesn't matter, it does not apply to me, or blame this, blame that, let's come together as a country. America is supposed to be the greatest country in the world because we have freedom, because we are, we just love and accept everybody, right? We are accepting of all cultures, all people, and that but not 100% of that is all like that in America. And it is sad to see where a country has come or succumbed to, and it really is, and it's been a year almost that we had to deal with this corona. But instead of blaming, put the blame, being sore losers about presidency, there's so many other things going on in the world: hunger, poverty, things that doesn't even make the fucking news. You don't hear about, and that's another thing, is news people are instigators. They instigate things that you only see the bad things. You almost never hear about somebody made it home good today. They're okay, because that's to be expected. And it really, the news is there for shock factor. They're there. They want something that makes views, and the things that make views is tragedies. But you know what? Sometimes you need to make a stand. You need to say, hey, that's not right. People make mistakes. Depending on what they did. Like, obviously murder is not good, and it's not even like, here's the thing, even in self-defense cases, like somebody murders an intruder, right? I don't personally believe they should go to jail for that. And what the messed up part is, we still have racists out there. And let me put it this way: a black woman with a shotgun did not kill, but wounded an intruder in her home. She gets like 15 years in prison for that, which kind of is illegal. We have right to bear arms, and if somebody steps in the house, if I had a gun and somebody stepped in my house, I would have all the legal right to shoot them, and I would not go to jail nowadays. But in this example, she went to jail for 15 years, right? A white woman stabs and kills her husband, right? So that's not intruder, that is murder, highest level. Gets 5 years, all because it was maybe a love interest or something. Now that's not right. One woman was literally trying to protect herself. The other one was a murderer. Why the hell did she get less years than that? The woman who shot the intruder should not go to jail at all. She was defending herself. And the stupidest thing is, from what I heard, now nobody goes to jail for shooting somebody in their own house, because that's their right as an American in defending themselves. But back then, it's like the only way you could escape jail time maybe is by using the killer's weapon. So what am I supposed to do? Let him stab me? Let him shoot me? And then take his gun? Like, that's so fucking stupid. No, that's not what this is. But yeah, that's all I really gotta say for this episode. I highly suggest you go on Netflix and you look at the TV show Manhunter, and they have that on the Olympic bombing, and they also have it on the Unabomber. So if you guys want to watch that, I suggest that you do. Also, Snowden was a good movie. I would suggest you watch that too. It tells a lot about the government and what the guy was going through. And I'll catch you guys on the next podcast episode. If you would please subscribe and comment and like the video, I would greatly appreciate it. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.